So I'm delighted to say that we are honoured to have Professor Ryan Bell with us, who has taken time out of his extremely busy schedule. He's the chair of the Migration Advisory Committee, who are an independent body, and they have been commissioned on behalf of the government to prepare a report and find evidence in terms of what the immigration policy should be in this sector going forward.
So the Migration Advisory Committee is, as the word implies, an advisory committee to the government. It advises the Home Secretary. There are 5 of us on the committee. We're all academics in different fields. I'm an economist, there's another economist, and then some more social scientists. And our job is to essentially answer questions that the Home Secretary asks us. So the standard model is she will write to us. It's almost always a she for some reason in the last few years. But she will write to us and say, I'd like advice on this particular aspect of the immigration system. We will conduct an inquiry, we'll review evidence, we'll often have a call for evidence so that any stakeholder who wants to can contribute. We'll then crunch the numbers and think about it, come up with some policy recommendations and provide a report to the government. If the Home Secretary accepts the advice, that usually gets implemented by secondary legislation, and of course she's entitled to reject our recommendations as well. So what changed? So in 2023, at the end of 2023, in the last gasps of the previous government, they decided to change the rules on the skilled worker route, and they made basically one big change, which was they changed all the salary thresholds. And what they did was they made them significantly higher than previously. So the old threshold was about sort of £26,000 generally, and now it's £38,700. And all of the thresholds for the occupations went up a lot as well. So essentially what the new system does is it says you can bring into your occupation people who are paid above the median in your occupation. So basically the idea now is that the skilled worker route is for the sort of top half of a particular occupation, and the bottom half won't be eligible. That's the kind of change. I should emphasise that at no point were we asked to give advice on that. That was just a decision the previous government made. But it is one that the current government have accepted. So that as far as I'm aware, there are no plans to change that from the current government. So the Home Secretary kind of asked us in August to do a review of the IT and engineering sectors. And I keep on saying to everyone that it's not that she's picking on these two sectors. It is true that if you look at the skilled worker route in particular, other than health and care, engineering and IT are significant users of the skilled worker route. And by that, I simply mean if you deflate by the size of the employment in those industries or sectors, they are fairly heavy users relative to other sectors. Now, there may be lots of reasons for that are not at all problematic, but inevitably, if you're interested in immigration, which the Home Secretary is, and you're interested in looking at the sectors that contribute to that immigration, it makes sense to start with them. So IT and engineering were chosen as the starting points. But the plan is that this will be a set of reviews that we will do over time. So once we've done this one, we'll presumably do one on health, we'll do one on construction. So there'll be various reviews going forward. And the idea of the review is quite straightforward. Well, it's sort of quite straightforward. It's very open. It wants us to look at why the sectors are using immigration. So one question that we're kind of interested to ask firms is, what's your motivation for bringing in workers from abroad compared to British workers? Is it that you can't get British workers to do those jobs, that there's just no supply? Is it that the foreign workers have different skill sets that are potentially complementary to British workers, but they're not perfect substitutes, so you can't just replace one with another? Or are there other reasons that you're bringing in? Do they have, are you thinking of expanding to those countries that they're coming from and you're wanting to get their skills before you do that kind of thing? So there's that kind of question about why are you doing it? So that's the kind of, so, I mean, obviously there'll be a bit of kind of just what are the numbers? And then, so why are you doing it? And then the question we will follow on from that is, and what are you doing? If part of your answer at least is, I just can't get the British staff to do those jobs, that there's just no supply. The question is, why is there no supply? And what are you as firms doing about it? And what do you think you or others should do about it? So that may be about things like apprenticeships. It may be about partnering up with universities and that kind of thing, depending on which jobs we're thinking about. Where's the skills gap that's happening in the UK, if there is one, and what are we doing to fill it? And are there policies that need to change? And I think this is obviously where the government are interested. Are there policies that need to change to enable that to happen? So the thing I think the government are doing right, the new government are doing right, and who knows whether it'll work, but they are trying to locate immigration policy within that broader framework. So there's this, it's very unattractive, it's called the Quad for some reason. Well, it's called the Quad because there's 4 things. So the MAC, there's a new body called Skills England, which is going to be in charge of developing skills in Britain. There's the Industrial Strategy Council, which the chair of Microsoft is going to chair, which is going to sort of tell us what our strategic priorities should be. And then there's the Department for Work and Pensions that are kind of focused on inactivity and getting people back into the labour market. And the idea is all 4 of us are supposed to work together within the overall growth mission that the government has, and to think exactly in the way that you're asking about, well, where do we need to potentially have more liberal immigration because it fits in with that agenda, and where can we actually, and that is a failure of historically, in that the Home Office has manages immigration, and there isn't a Home Secretary alive who would have got more votes by being more liberal on immigration. And so if you're the Home Secretary, your focus is on controlling immigration because that's your job. And there's been that lack of kind of getting across government saying, well, actually, sometimes there might be more liberal policies needed, but sometimes actually we do need to be tougher and say no. And that's where I think there will be some move.